Abbasi.
For the next opening series, low. Start.
So each shooter Debayan will actually shoot two series of 3 shots each. He has 150 seconds for those 3 shots. After 6 shots, the elimination series will start, and then there will be 2 shots, at the end of which the lowest ranked shooter will be eliminated. So that's the process. After every 2 shots, one shooter will get eliminated till we are left with the final two who will shoot it off for gold.
Well, in this first shot, it's Mithilesh Babu, the youngster from India, who's shot 10.7. He's had the best start. Now waiting for the second series of shots in this 152nd. Now I'm just a little bit disappointing, 10.1, and Lou also keeping up with 10.5.
Yes, and also Devan, especially in the final, you looking for something in excess of 10.2, 10.3. That's the only way you can increase your score and put the pressure on the rest. The other shooters, they are juniors, they are under 18, 9.2, 9.8. They'll really have to pull up their socks at the moment.
It's young Mithilesh Babu. This time the pressure showing on him, 9.6. Just 14 years of age, the youngest in the field in this final. And the other Indian also shooting well at the moment. He's moved up to 4th at the moment, Satyajit, youngster from Haryana. He's in row F at the moment.
And what is good to see, Devan, is the fact that these people are going into this competition. They don't get too much competition at this level. Shooting a final is a totally different experience, and talking to shooters like Abhinav Zindra and Gagan Narang, they say that it's irrespective of how many hours you put in practice, it's these final practice sessions which you're competing against 8, knowing that even if you shoot your best, you may not make it to the medal rounds. So it's important for these shooters like Mithilesh Babu and Satyajit to actually grasp this opportunity and soak in the atmosphere of the final.
Stop.
So the second shot of those 3 shots, second round of 3 shots has also been completed. And at the moment, Liu Xiaochuan still in the lead. And a pretty healthy lead at the moment ahead of Nam Taiyun.
Yes, and this just goes out to show the experience because he's someone who's actually competed in the Elite World Cup series as well. He was a finalist at the Youth Olympic Games as well. And as you can see, it's a lead of at least 0.9. And in shooting, that's a lot, Deban. And if he can keep this going, the others will have a huge task catching up with him.
And of course, after the next couple of shots, we'll have the first elimination. So danger signals for Yoichiro Isai in row B from Japan, because he is at 57.7. So he's 1.7 behind Robiul Islam of Bangladesh.
Yes, at the moment how it looks, Robbie Bull should be safe if he doesn't have a couple of bad shots. Yoichiro Isai will really have to pull off his socks right now. Needs a couple of 10.5, 10.6 to actually stay in contention.
For the next appeal shot, load.
Just to continue on the point that Digvijay was talking about earlier, the pedigree of some of these shooters is without doubt because they have participated in youth championships, particularly the shooter from Korea, Nam Tae-yoon. Expect him to make perhaps a resurgence in this competition.
Yes, and just to look at his qualifying score, Deban, he shot 624.6. That is the score which, on an average, Abhinav Bindra or Gagan shoot.
He shoots a 10.6, so that's a good start from Nam. And Isai 9.6, Robiul with 10.4, so it looks quite likely that the Japanese will depart after the next shot.
Yes, the lead is too much right now, Devan. It's 2.5 points, and in shooting, it's very difficult unless he does a Matthew Emmons, who at the Athens Olympics, in fact, was leading the competition in men's 3 position and had to shoot just about a 10 to win the gold. What he did was he went and shot somebody else's target and ended up last.
And up at the top, there's just a 0.2 difference between Liu Xiaochuan and Nam Tae-yoon. Robiul scores more than Isai, so that will mean that Yoichiro Isai will leave us. And at the moment, Satyajit has shot a brilliant 10.6. Nam Tae-yoon has scored 10.0. And Lu is at 10.1. So we will still continue to have the Chinese Taipei man at number 1 position. But of course, number 8 will unfortunately leave us after this round, Yoichiro Isai.
And if you look at it at the moment, Devan, just 1.3 points separates the top 4, so it's still anyone's game.
It's 10.6 by Satyajit Kundul representing India.
And India, Satyajit Kandol, that's the applause for him because that was the best shot in that round. And what that has meant is it's brought him up to 4th position. And he's not far behind the leader. There is a significant gap perhaps between 2 and 3. But just behind that, Satyajit is just about 0.5 points. And with number of shots to go, 12 shots to go, he's very much in this contest.
Yes, Devan, he needs to keep putting in those 10.6, 10.5s, and I hope that that rubs off on the other Indian, Mithilesh Babu, who's unfortunately not had a very good last 2 shots. He's dropped to 7th. So after the next 2 shots, it's him or Robibul Islam at the moment who are in danger of exiting.
On the 4th position, we have Satyajit Kundul representing India.
We will shortly see Yoichiro Isai in the position B, who will be leaving us. But for the moment, Liu Xiaochuan leading, Nam Tae-yoon of Korea in 2nd position. 3rd position also with Korea at the moment, Kim Kye-hyung. Satyajit is 4th. Daud has shot well, the young man from Iran. But he's still in 5th position, not so consistent in those last set of shots. And Robiul and Mithilesh Babu bringing up the rear with Yoichiro finishing in 8th after 8 shots. His total of 77 will unfortunately mean that he will be behind Mithilesh Babu by 3.1, and that's why we'll have our first elimination.
77.0 is Isai Yoichiro.
Good exposure though for the young man, just 16 years of age, and bright future ahead. Japan also one of those nations who are a emerging force in Asian shooting.
Yes, Deban. If you look at how the way shooting is at the moment, China is obviously the dominant country. The Koreans are there as well, and 3 Koreans, in fact, in men's rifle have the quota for the Olympic Games. But yes, Japan has done well in the past as well. And if you look at the countries in the race to catch up with China, it's India, Japan, and Chinese Taipei, with Korea slightly ahead, and that's why what we're seeing in this youth final as well. The Koreans at 2 and 3.
So 8 shots done. Liu Xiaochuan very much deserving that lead on the basis of his shooting thus far, but who will catch up with him, if at all, across the next couple of shots, after which we'll see one more elimination.
And he has shown that he is mortal after all, because in the last 2 shots he had an aggregate of only 20, and that has seen the others catch up with him. So the lead, which was a bit higher there, has actually dwindled.
Daud Abaldi shoots a 10.6, the young man from Iran. Mithilesh Babu 10.1, Kim with 10.7. Satyajit with 10.4 as well. Top quality shooting all around. Nam is up to 10.2 only, so the others are going to catch up with him. 10.2 for Lu. Outstanding shooting by everybody.
Outstanding shooting indeed, and I think the lead is getting very, very close. Lu has to watch out because Kim has really upped his ante in the last couple of shots.
In fact, we have a tie for 2nd position. We have Kim Kye-hyung and Nam Tae-yoon, both the Koreans, in 2nd position. And they are just 0.3 behind Liu Xiaochuan.
Yes, this is as close as it gets, Devine, you know, and interestingly, what's going to happen now is even one bad shot. Suppose one shooter gets a 10.2 and somebody gets a 10.5, that's it, it's a tie.
And pressure now on Mithilesh Babu because he's tied with Robiul at 90.2. So whoever scores lower in this next shot will most likely get eliminated because the difference between them and Daud is 1.3.
Yes, let's see how the young Indian shooter actually responds to pressure. The Indians, in fact, in air rifle are very good at handling the pressure. We've known what Abhinav Bindra has done, or even Gagan Narang, and even of late, the way Chen Singh has been shooting. The Indian shooters are mentally very strong, but let's see how the young man has learned from his seniors.
Bit of a South Asian battle in this particular shot. Robiul shoots 10.3, all up to Babu. 10.3 for him as well.
Yes, this is interesting. So at the moment, both of them locked at 10.3. So it's dead even. And
Stop.
interestingly, we'll go to see a shoot off.
And Lu has shot a 9.4 here, so that has put some pressure on him because he's fallen off the top. Nam Tai Yun has gone up to top position because he scored a 10.5. And Satyajit has moved into joint second position, tied with Lu Shuao Chuan.
Yes, as we were talking a short while back, the shooter from Chinese Taipei, Lu Shuaochuan, has to up his game. The last two shots, again 19.6. Look how Nam Taiyun responded. He was at 20.7 in the aggregate of those two shots. So clearly, this is the moment where we could have possibly seen the final change.
And even though one of Mithilesh Babu or Robiul will have to go, there's not much of a difference between them and the leader Nam Tai Yun. That tells you about the quality of all these shooters. Just 2.5, that's not too much in a final.
It now depends on nerves. It comes down to how you handle the pressure. You know it's a shoot off. All you need to do is shoot 0.1 more than the other shooter. It doesn't depend onto the result of this competition, but then it just shows how well you've trained mentally. And ultimately, Devan, shooting is a mental sport as well.
So this next shot will be a shoot-off between Robiul in A position and Mithilesh Babu on screen in C position. One of these two will be eliminated after this one shot. Robiul fires a 10.0. And Babu tops him with 10.5. So Mithilesh Babu of India stays in this contest.
Yes, and all, one has to just admire the kind of performance he has just shown, because this is at the back of the mind. They know that if they get this shot wrong, they are out. 10.5 is outstanding shooting. It's just so minute, these numbers right now, and for him to come under pressure knowing he could go out and get a 10.5 will actually probably help him. There's not much of a difference ahead of him, so you never know. The way air rifle goes, things can change.
Yes, 10 shots, so the halfway mark has been reached, and Mohammad Robiul Islam has to leave, the 16-year-old who shot well early on, especially in this contest. But as things wavered off, he had to pay the price. But it's been high-quality shooting from all the youngsters. We're ready for our next set of 2 shots, after which we'll see the next elimination. Yoichiro and Robiul, the 2 men eliminated thus far. Mithilesh Babu is carrying on with the momentum. He's shot a 10.5. Satyajit has shot a 10.9. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
That is the perfect shot. And just look at how this competition stands, because the leaders have all not shot well, and Satyajit finds himself in the lead.
Absolutely. Satyajit Kandol of India, 113.1. And he's now 0.2 points ahead of Lu Shuao Chuan. He started well, remember. He started by consistently shooting in the 10s, and he's just kept it going all the way through.
And just to give you an indication of how volatile air rifle is,
Just a few technical glitches here, so apologies for that. But at the moment, we have a very interesting situation here at the Dr. Karni Singh shooting range, because Satyajit Kandol of India is currently leading. He's standing in the position F. He's at 113.1. Liu Shuachuan of Taipei is behind him in second position. And on screen, Mithilesh Babu has also triggered a bit of a fight back, but he's still facing elimination because he's tied with Kim Ki-hyong of Korea. Kim Ki-hyong, Digvijay, a while ago was leading, or he was certainly in second position.
Leading position is Satyajit Kandol.
Yes, and Devan, this is the beauty of the way shooting has changed. The problem
Followed by
earlier was that your
Liu
scores in the
Shaochan
qualifying carried
from
over to the
Chinese
final, so you
Taipei
had,
with
in
a
a sense,
score
what
of
many call an unfair advantage at London 2012 in the men's three-position final. Nico Campriani had a 6 to 7 point lead going
On
into
the
the
third
final, so the
position,
result was a
we
foregone
have
conclusion. That is why,
Yang
come
Tae-in
1st January
from
2013, the rules
Korea
were changed and
with a score of
everyone went into the final and the score started at 0. So
112.8,
irrespective
which
of
is
what
it
you
just
could
had
shoot
a
in the qualifying, you could shoot a
0.1
world record,
difference
but
between
it didn't matter.
second
And
and
here
third
you see the
position.
difference. Kim Ki-hong from Korea started off so well, and now he and
On
Mithilesh
the
Babu
fourth
are
position,
actually locked
we
in a
have
fight to progress
Sabun Abadi
to the next series. I
representing
mean, Mithilesh
Iran
Babu could again, if he could
with a
replicate that
score
form, which
of
saw him shoot a 10.5 and see
111.9.
Robbie Wool exit, then then he is
On the
still in the
fifth
hunt.
position, representing
Yes, very much
India,
so, because
we
just
have
2.1 point
Rahul
difference
Dinesh
between
with a
Mithilesh, who
score
is
of
in last position, joined with Kim Ki-hyong
111.0.
and Satyajit. So just a question of a couple of
On the
series of
fifth
good
position,
shots and you would be back in it.
on the sixth position, Kim Tae-yong from Korea with a score of 111.0. For the 10 meters and rifle youth man event, we are witnessing the finals, from which we have the youngest shooter, Rahul Dinesh. He is the youngest of all the shooters in this event, shooting on firing line
And Mithilesh,
C.
I've seen him shoot.
He is as of now on the fifth position, representing India. As of now, on the third position, we have Nam Theon from Korea. It's his first competition at the 8th Asian Championship New Delhi 2015, and he has shot 624.6 to be in the finals. On the first position, as of now, is Satyajit Kandol, representing India. He has shot so far his best scores 616.5. On the second position as of now, we have Liu Shaochan, representing Chinese Taipei. His best scores so far are 627.6. On the fourth position, we have Iranian marksman Dawood Abadi Ali Reza. So far, his best scores are 616. After the finals, we will be soon having the victory ceremony. We are witnessing the 8th Asian Airgun Championship, New Delhi 2015, sponsored by ONGC, Fortis, Adidas, Taj Vivanta, Wave, Hula.
For the next company shot, load, start.
So here we are, shot number 12. An important one for Kim Ki-hyung and Mithilesh Babu, both of them tied at 111. Mithilesh Babu has already survived one shoot-off. Let's see what he can come up with here.
A 10 from Kim, so Mithilesh needs to shoot 10.1. Lou has dropped as well, so Deban Satyajit has increased his lead.
There's just 10 seconds left on the clock, less than that. He needs to fire. He fires a
Stop.
9.3. So the pressure getting to him. Mithilesh Babu drops out. He survived one of those shoots off, but you could see that he was nervous here, wasn't he?
Yes, he was nervous, and in fact, when he looks back at this competition, he'll realize that he let Kim off the hook because Kim himself didn't have a very good shot, just about managing a 10. But Mithilesh Babu, after 10.5 in that first shoot-off, not being able to produce the goods, 9.3, and he exits. But right at the top, it's Satyajit who is still in the lead, and I was just informed by one of his Indian teammates that this is his first international competition, Deban. Imagine what nerves of steel in your first competition.
Absolutely. He was just called for the national camp, which happened earlier this year, and that was his first time. But Mithilesh Babu, youngster, 14-year-old from Tamil Nadu, bright future ahead of him and a good performance. He showed nerves of steel in that previous elimination, but this time he just loses out to Kim Kye-hyung.
Yes, and that is the nature of the game, and this is how they will evolve as shooters because they've had this experience now of the
For the next
elimination.
shot,
And going forward, he's young, and there's many more years ahead of him, and clearly he will look back, and thankfully we're actually showing this so he actually can look at the performance and see what's gone wrong and figure out was it perhaps the lights going off which in fact unnerved him.
So Satyajit now with a very narrow lead needs to fire well here. He has some pressure from both Nam as well as Lu. Nam scores a 10.3. 10.7 from Dawood Abadi. That's outstanding.
Yes, Deban, and as we're focusing on the Indians and the battle between Lu and the Koreans, Abadi has been shooting some great scores and slowly he has come up and now he's up to third.
Satyajit scores a 10.3, so that will still keep him just on top, ahead by 0.1. 133.6 is cumulative score. This was, of course, the 13th shot, so there will be one more elimination after this. And Kim Kye-hyung will look at that with interest because he's 1.5 behind Lu Shuao-chuan of Taipei, who began in top position, but now he's joined third. So that's how close this is. Very, very hot contest between the top four in particular.
And Deban, can you imagine when we started this broadcast a short while back, these two were the shooters who were in the lead, and here they are right now, you know, fighting to stay alive in this competition.
One credit to Satyajit, he has been very consistent with most of his shots. Never really dropped too often below 10. But he'll need to just up the ante a little bit more now because Nam Tai-hyun in particular is very close to him. South Korean Nam scores 10.3. His compatriot Kim scores 10.4. Satyajit 9.8. So he will drop off the lead.
He's dropped down to third, in fact, and Lu has a 10.5, which is the best of this round, and that sees Lu go up to second, and Nam has the lead now.
And Dawood also consistently scoring well, 10.1 for him. Kim Kye-hyung has finished fifth. So the man who started at position D will be eliminated as a result of this 14th shot.
So the next two shots will actually tell us, Deban, who will be the medalists at this Asian Airgun in New Delhi.
Indeed, the first medals will be handed out. This is the youth division of the 10-meter air rifle men. So all players under 18.
Fifth position, we have Kim Tae-yong from Korea with a score of 141.9.
So Kim Kye-hyung,
Big round of applause for
17-year-old, did well. His qualifying score in particular was quite impressive. He was third in that at 617.4, but in these finals he has had a few nervy moments and eventually he has been eliminated. But again, emphasizing, Digvijay, that Korea are a prominent force in this sport overall.
Yes, Korea has been very consistent, in fact, not just in men's but in women's air and the women's rifle events as well. Just 0.7 Deban separates the first position from the fourth position. So one shot could still see this all change.
And an important shot coming up for Satyajit. Nam scores just 9.7.
Will that prove crucial? Because if on either side of him, and yes, Dawood Abadi from Iran has got a 10.6.
But Satyajit has struck a 10.8. So he comes roaring back into contention now. Still waiting for Lu's shot.
And the pressure will now be on Nam, Devan.
So the man from Taipei scores 10.5 and Nam, because of his shot, has now dropped down to fourth position. Satyajit is back in the lead, 154.2 cumulative score. And the best shot in that round as well, 10.8. That has been his phenomenon today, that whenever he's been under pressure, he's pulled off the big shot.
He's always got the big shots. He's got a 10.9, got a 10.8, got a 10.6 as well. On your screens, you can see Sunny Thomas, Dronacharya Wadi, long-time coach of the Indian team, and someone, in fact, who set up shooting and the success we've seen post-2000 with Anjali Bhagwat leading the way and then Abhinav Pindra. But those people seem to have inspired Satyajit, the first time playing for India, and really, if he pulls this one off, this is someone we need to watch out for.
As Digvijay mentioned just a while ago, after this shot, we will know who are in the contention for the medal. Nam, the Korean, is in danger of losing out. He scores a 10.5. Dawood Abadi scores 10.4.
Satyajit 10.3, that should keep him safe for now.
All up to Lou. Lou only scores 10.1, so I would think that means Satyajit Kandol will stay in top position, and Nam Tae-yoon of Korea, who qualified in first position, will unfortunately lose out by just 0.1 to Lu Shua-chuan of Taipei, who finished second in that qualification. So that tells you that the finals is a completely different ball game now.
It's a completely different ball game, but as you mentioned, we have our medalists, so India guaranteed of a medal. We hope that it stays as it is, Devan. It's Satyajit in the lead at the moment, a lead of 0.4. So he has been consistent. If he maintains that consistency, you could see him actually winning his first tournament ever on debut.
164.1 and a difference of 0.4.
Also, India and Korea are the only two teams which have entered these finals. So from that point of view, Satyajit carrying on will be a huge boost to India's chances of finishing ahead of Korea. These are the only two countries which have entered the competition as teams.
Yes, and Devan, if you could look at the top three at the moment, this is the established order at the moment in Asian shooting, with India and Iran at the moment really challenging China. Iran may not be that force they are in men's air rifle, but in women's air rifle, they're in fact much ahead of India at the moment, and that's probably because Laszlo Suchak, who was the coach of the Indian team up till 2008, after that went over to Iran, and ever since then you've seen a procession of shooters from Iran doing very well.
Nam Tae-yoon led for most of these finals, but just some erratic shots from time to time, a few sub-10 scores, and that's where the secret to Satyajit's success has been that barring once or perhaps twice, he hasn't really dropped below maybe 10.2 or 10.3 on a consistent basis. So 3 positions up for grabs, bronze, silver and gold, and we'll know soon which of the 2 of these 3 will be going in for the top 2 positions.
For the 8th Asian Airgun Championship 10 meters rifle youth men category.
The next 2 shots will have a huge bearing on what happens there. Satyajit in the lead, and Lou and Dawood Abadi, who's silently, quietly, always just fought his way through. He's into the mix as well.
As they say in athletics, you call it the curse of the outside lane. You don't know what's happening in the outside lane, but Dawood Abadi has clearly, quietly, as you said, come up, and now he's in second place. But he gets this one wrong, 9.4 from him, and that could be the chance for Lou.
Satyajit scores a 10.3. And now let's wait for the shooter from Taipei. Just a shade behind him. He scores a 10.3 as well. So Satyajit from India will continue to retain the lead, but only just. It's 0.4 ahead of Lu Shua-chuan. But now the pressure is on Dawood Abadi from Iran, because this third or the second shot, he will have to score significantly better than Lu Shua-chuan.
Yes, let's see how he responds to the situation, because he's not been in this situation in this entire final. He's always had consistent scores. This is the wrong time to pull off a 9.4. And when you look at shooting, and when you're entering the final 3 or 4 shots, you need to pull off your best. If you remember, Abhinav Bindra, when he won his gold, the historic gold in Beijing, Devan, his last shot was a 10.8. That shows you that you need to shoot your highest scores right towards the end. You need to be in competition all through, but when you're reaching that final phase, you need to show your best, because that's when you know who's the gold medalist or the silver medalist.
It's another parallel perhaps with athletics, that the last few strides have to be the strongest in many respects. Dawood Abadi scores a 10.3. That may not see him retain his position in the last 2 shots. Satyajit scores a 10.3 as well. Lou scores 10.2, so Satyajit will stay in the lead, and Dawood Abadi will have to be content with the bronze medal in the finals of the 10-meter air rifle men youth at the 8th Asian Airgun Championship.
Yes, Deban, and Satyajit at the moment has now increased his lead to 0.5. That still puts him in the driver's seat, but unfortunately for Dawood Abadi, his run comes to an end. He has to be content with the bronze medal. Barring 9.4, he had a very good final, but clearly as he grows up, and this is what his coaches will talk to him, that you
After the
can't let
shot,
that intensity drop for even one shot.
congratulations.
Gets a medal though. Abbas Ali Dawoodabadi from the Islamic Republic of Iran. Just 16 years of age, so bright future ahead of him. Iran, as we've been talking about, is the emerging force. And in particular, the coach from Hungary, who used to be the coach of India, who's now with the Iranian contingent. He's also pulled off a bit of a masterstroke in that he has placed Najme Khedmati in the junior section of the women's air rifle. And she's somebody who's really done it all at the seniors as well. So she'll be a prime contender in that batch as well. Those competitions tomorrow.
For the next player shot,
So 2 shots to go, Deban. Let's see if Satyajit can hold his nerve. It's between him and Lu Shaochan of Taipei for the gold medal. Satyajit has a 0.5 lead. 2 shots to go. Let's see if he can give India a golden start at these Asian Airgun Championships.
This penultimate shot is so important because if either of these two just fires a little poorly, that will put so much of pressure over them for the final shot. So anything in excess of 10.2, I guess, would be acceptable. Satyajit scores a 10.1.
So 9.6 from Lu, and Satyajit has now increased his lead
It's
to
a 1
1
point.
point.
It's a 1 point lead for Satyajit Kandol of India. 195.2. Lu Shaochuan 194.2. So unless Satyajit scores anything less than 10, he is confirmed of getting the gold here in this first event at the Asian Airgun Championship in New Delhi.
From Chinese Taipei with the score of
So that's it. If he scores 10, then he's getting the gold no matter what.
Yes, he has to score 10. Even if he scores a 9.9, Lu has to respond with a 10.9. And the chances of that happening, Debayan, are a bit far-fetched at the moment. But in shooting, you never know.
And considering Satyajit has fired a 10.9 in these finals, let's not discount it. So much of pressure on these youngsters. Lu
All
of-
he needs to do, Deban, is just hold his nerve and just get off a good shot.
Lu, 18 years of age, has his supporters as well. Satyajit, just 15 years of age from Haryana. He scored a 9.6.
He's allowed Lu the opportunity to come back. Let's see.
He needs a 10.7.
No,
He
he
doesn't.
doesn't
He gets a
get-
9.5. That was as nerve-wracking as you could hope to be. And this is perhaps the crux of the matter. That in these big events, it's all about holding your nerve. Satyajit didn't, but thankfully for him, neither could Lu.
And actually going back, Debayan, and even as we celebrate a wonderful debut for Satyajit, let's go back to the Asian Games where Jeetu Rai in that 50-meter pistol final actually shot off an 8.6, while his opponent, they were going neck to neck, actually got a 5.8. The Indian contingent going wild here. Some of the junior shooters of the Indian team right next to us in the commentary box, cheering Satyajit.
Yes, a fabulous finish, 204.8. That is as good as it gets in the finals. That means that on an average, he shot in excess of 10.2.
Yes, Devan, and just look at this. Last year, Yang Haoran, who is the world champion, actually shot at 206 odd to get the gold. And you're talking of someone who's a world champion. This man is in his first competition. So clearly 204.8 means the Indian coaches who are sitting here will be looking at him closely. This one is for the future.
Yes, he can afford to break a smile now. Satyajit Kandol, perhaps still to get used to the adulation, but this will definitely be one picture for the newspapers tomorrow.
And at the end, Devan, a pretty convincing win, 0.8 points. 1.1.
So these were the three positions in the center. There's Satyajit Kandol of India, 204.8, 1.1 behind him, Lu Shaochuan, as you are seeing to his right, and to his left, with the visor still on, Dawood Abadi of Iran, who scored 183.8, so big gap between numbers 2 and 3, but that tells you about the quality of the shooting, especially going up to the last few shots.
And it also tells you, Devayan, of of how it's very important just to make the final. Satyajit in qualifying had 612.8, while Lou had 623.4. In the final, it doesn't depend what you've shot in the past. It's about how you handle the pressure when you're standing on that firing point. And Satyajit has shown that despite his age, he knows what to do.
So that's the news that Satyajit Kandol has picked up the first gold of these 8th Asian Airgun Championships.
Hello, check. Hello, check. Test one. Hello, check. Hello. Hello, check. Hello.